What is going on, everybody? This is Coach Mylan here, and this is a video on why you should never simply only pay attention to your body weight when you're trying to go for results in the gym. Here is a client of mine, and his primary goal is actually weight loss, specifically recomposition, right? So losing fat and putting on muscle mass. Okay, now here's the problem though with only looking at his weight. You will see here that his weight is going to do some weird things. We're going to look at his graph from September and we're going to go to November. He peaks off here at about 244 in terms of his body weight. So here's September into October. You will see that he's trending down with some peaks and valleys. And then as he continues to train, he does get a pretty significant spike here. That is seemingly out of nowhere, right? And then, oh my gosh, his body weight actually starts to trend in the upward direction. Like we were saying before, weight loss is not always the best indicator of reaching body composition goals because it doesn't account for your muscle mass. So when I get clients and they typically say that, hey, I want weight loss, what they actually want most of the time when I pick their brain some more is recomposition. They want their muscle mass to go up and their fat mass to go down. What most people do is they get emotional. They infer their progress or rate of progress based on a momentary interpretation of their weight, which is a massive mistake. It's actually one way that you're going to shoot your coach in the foot and not even know. What most people do is they will lie to themselves. They will then plateau as a result, and then they either go back to the drawing board and or give up altogether. One of the things that you'll see is me when I'm a little bit bigger, right, compared to when I did a cut, and then versus when I actually learned how to bulk versus cut appropriately. When I went from here to here, I actually lost a bunch of muscle mass. I actually did this the wrong way. I should have actually gone from here more to the ones down here. If you take anything away from today's video, let it be this. The body is always in a state of flux. When we train, we want to make an inroad, and then we want to allow for an optimized period of recovery to occur before we head on to our next PR. If you do something, whether it be with your training, your diet, or lack thereof, and you inhibit your ability to recover, let's say you hit the muscle again when you're here, now it's going to look like you've improved. But relative to your potential, we have some problems. Because I was so obsessed with what the scale was doing, I shot myself in the foot. It's really important that we have perspective as we are looking at this. Some clients, when they see their chart do something like this, they will automatically think that the coaching is not working, there's something wrong with the training, but that really couldn't be further from the truth. And let's go ahead and prove it to you. Have other ways of tracking what you're doing than the scale. I'm not a huge fan of InBody as much. No, it's not 100% accurate. I'm much more of a fan of a DEXA report or a DEXA scan. This is the client in question that we saw earlier on the weight graph. If you will notice here that his total body fat as we go from September, October, November, and then into December is actually going down. However, if we zoom in, you'll see his body weight here is the same. Let's go ahead and look at his lean tissue. Lean tissue goes up from 138.7 all the way up to 145. Right now, reality, the longer you do this, it's not unusual to have these numbers go up and down. However, they should all be trending in the appropriate direction on your graph. All in all, what we are actually looking at is almost a 20-pound compositional difference. Drum roll, everybody. Here is what that progress looks like on his progress photos. This, guys, is reality. If you know anything about a bell curve distribution, you will know that when people follow programs, Instagram and social media platforms have people convinced that you're going to see some crazy drastic changes given what is clearly apparent up here. But what we do actually see are small differences. We obviously know, based on his regional fat tissue reports, that his fat mass is going down. And we can clearly observe here that when we look at his body fat on his body, we can see much less of a crease, for example, on his back right side. Those are the little changes, guys, that you look for to know that somebody is heading in the correct direction. Regional lean tissue reports, everything is going up. He's on trend. Much less of a crease here in his belly. The reality about training and coaching anybody is that people are going to respond very differently to the same amount of programming. After some crazy 12-week, 8-week, 16-week program that everyone's used to on Instagram, the people that are marketed to you to sell you those programs are this side of the distribution. If you're a normal person, you need to really get it out of your head that you're going to get some crazy great fitness results in a short period of time. Stay the course, zoom out, because if you are a statistical outlier on the left side here or somebody in the middle, some people actually overestimate how well they're doing and they need to be more mindful. So do you hold yourself accountable to the fine details? Do you track the data to begin with? Some people are doing just fine, but they're super impatient. They'll push a program really well for a couple of months. They don't get the rate of progress that they just imagine that they should get. For those people, I would say to you, you need to grow up. If you have objective tools, though, to reference, then you can calm down. You need to not be entitled to the same results as somebody else that is a statistical outlier. Last but not least, some people are putting in the effort, but just not in the right places. They don't address the quality of what they're doing in terms of the programming. It all really comes down to your program compliance and your mindset. Here is what his results looked like from December all the way up to March 22nd here. His fat is still trending down. Muscle mass is still going up. However, again, even though he only weighs 236.9 in December, fast forward a couple months, he weighs 236 still, except back in December, he had a 143 body weight in terms of his lean tissue, and now we're sitting at 150. It's not about what's going on with the scale. Everyone's going to get a different rate of results on those photos, especially if you have some more fat on you. Stay the course, track what you're doing with your fat mass versus your lean tissue, and move on from there. Thank you guys for watching this video today. If you got any comments or questions, feel free to leave one below. I'll catch you guys later.